The word 5G is making a buzz over the last few years, and even in the many countries, the initial phase of 5G deployment is going on. And even in the last couple of years, many 5G smartphones are also launched. Now, when we hear the word 5G, then the first thing which comes in our mind is the high-speed internet. But this 5G is more than just the high-speed internet. So to understand that, first of all, let us understand what is 5G. So this 5G stands for the fifth generation of mobile network technology. And in many aspects, it is different from the previous generations. So in future, this 5G technology will provide the three main type of services. That is the fast internet, the Internet of Things, as well as low latency communication. So technically, these three features are known as enhanced mobile broadband, the massive machine-to-machine type of communication, and ultra-reliable low latency communication. So as I said, this massive machine-to-machine type of communication will enable the Internet of Things, where millions of devices can be connected together without the human intervention. And these devices will be able to communicate with each other wirelessly. Apart from that, it will also enable the gates for the smart homes and the smart cities. So as per the 5G specifications, it will support the connection density of 1 million devices over the 1 kilometer area, which is 10 times more than the maximum supported capacity of the 4G network. Then the next feature is the enhanced mobile broadband, that is the blazing fast internet service. So as per the 5G specification, theoretically, it will support the peak download speed of 20 Gbps and the upload speed of 10 Gbps. And when the signal is low or at the edge of the cell, it will provide the maximum speed of 100 Mbps. So this will enable the services which requires the very high bandwidth. That means with the blazing fast speeds, the consumers will be able to download the HD movies in a few seconds. Moreover, it will also accelerate the adoption of these augmented and the virtual reality based services. Not only that, it will also accelerate the concept of cloud-based gaming. Then the next technical goal or the next feature which 5G will provide is the low latency communication. So this 5G feature will allow the communication with a latency of as low as 1 millisecond. So this feature will enable the real-time services which requires a very low latency and the prompt response, like autonomous vehicles, remote surgeries and the interactive gaming. Apart from that, it will be also very helpful in the automation industries where fast machine-to-machine communication and ultra-reliable communication is very critical, which will avoid the system failures as well as the loss of life. So this is how 5G will enable the new services to the consumers with very high reliability. And here is the quick comparison between the 4G and the 5G technology. So now let us talk about the 5G spectrum or the 5G frequency bands. So this 5G will support the two frequency ranges. So the one frequency range is known as sub 6 GHz band, while the second band is known as the millimeter wave band. Now initially in this first frequency range, the frequency was limited up to 6 GHz, but later on it was extended up to 7 GHz. Now this first frequency band can further divide it into the low band and the mid band frequencies. So these low band frequencies contains the frequencies which is less than 1 GHz. And at these low frequencies, this band provides the very good coverage. So this band of frequencies can be used to provide the coverage even in the interior parts. On the other end, this mid-band provides the moderate coverage, but because of the increased bandwidth, the data speed will be better than the previous generations. So currently, in many countries, this mid-band is used for the 5G deployment. But the true 5G experience and the 5G speeds like a 1 Gbps can be achieved with the help of millimeter wave band. So because of its high frequency, this band provides a very high bandwidth and it can provide a blazing fast internet to the end users. But since the millimeter wave can't travel a much distance, so the coverage in this band will be limited to only tens of meters. So because of that, the cells in this millimeter wave band are known as the small cells. Now as this small cell provides a limited coverage, so when mobile network operator wants to provide a really high speed experience to the user, then they need to install even hundreds or thousands of such small cells in the particular area. Now at the millimeter wave frequencies, the size of the antenna will reduce drastically. And since the 5G radios consumes a very low power, so these millimeter wave radios can be even installed on the street lights. So this is all about the 5G frequency bands. Now let us briefly see the different technologies behind 5G which will enable the different services to the end user. So one of the main technologies behind 5G is the massive MIMO. So here this MIMO stands for multiple inputs, multiple outputs, where at both transmitter and the receivers, the multiple antennas are installed. So this MIMO is not a new concept, and even it was used in the previous generation, like in the 4th generation, and even it is used in the Wi-Fi technology. But in case of the 5G, the scale at which this concept is used is massive. So this massive MIMO will enable the spatial diversity and the spatial multiplexing. Spatial diversity means using the same frequency and the time slot, the same data can be sent over the different spatial paths, which will improve the reliability and it will also improve the data rate. Then in case of the spatial multiplexing, the different data is sent to the user over the different spatial paths, which will increase the throughput to the end user. Then another concept which is possible to achieve with this massive MIMO is the multi-user MIMO, where using the different spatial paths, different users can be served simultaneously over the same frequency. So with the help of this multi-user massive MIMO, it is possible to enhance the cell capacity, that is the number of users which can be served simultaneously. Now this massive MIMO will also enable the use of the beamforming technique. So this beamforming is another key wireless technique where a wireless signal is focused in a specific direction rather than broadcasting it in a wide area. So to understand this beamforming, you can think of it as a difference between the flashlight and the laser pointer. So with the massive number of antennas in this massive MIMO system, this beamforming will also become 3D beamforming. So with this 3D beamforming, it is possible to serve and track the user whenever they are moving on the street, or it is possible to track them whenever they are moving from one floor to the another floor in the buildings. And having such narrow and the direct beam will also help in reducing the interference between the other beams. So these are the advantages of the massive MIMO technology. Then the next important aspect is the network slicing. The network slicing is a specific form of virtualization which allows the multiple logical networks to run on top of the shared physical infrastructure. So as discussed earlier, this 5G network should be able to provide a 3 type of basic services together, that is Internet of Things, enhanced mobile broadband, and a very low latency communication. So all these different type of services will require a different quality of service as well as the different resources. For example, in the Internet of Things, large number of devices are connected together, but the throughput of each device will be very low. But to connect such large number of devices, the network should be capable of. On the other end, if we see the case of very high-speed internet users, then their throughput will be very high, but the number of users will be less than the IoT devices. So using this network slicing, all the similar type of services can be served together using the logical network, which will not only increase the service reliability, but it will also increase the end user experience. But all these different type of services can be provided to the end user when the entire architecture is based on the 5G network. But most of the current 5G deployment is on top of the 4G architecture. So basically, there are two 5G deployment options, that is non-standalone and the standalone 5G. In non-standalone 5G deployment, the core is still 4G core, but the base station or the new radios are the 5G based. So in this non-standalone 5G, the 5G radios will be used to provide the fast data to the end user, but for the control and the signaling, still the 4G architecture will be used. So currently, the most of the 5G deployment which is going in the world is based on this non-standalone 5G. So in the first phase of this 5G deployment, the focus is to provide the faster internet speed to the end user. The advantage of this non-standalone 5G is that the existing 4G infrastructure can be used for the 5G deployment. But the true potential of the 5G can be experienced only in the standalone 5G, where the core is based on the 5G architecture and the new radios which is used in the 5G deployment are based on the millimeter wave frequencies. So this network slicing and all other low latency services can be provided to the end user when the core is also 5G core. So gradually, the mobile network operator will move towards this standalone 5G, but it will take some time. So even in the countries where this 5G deployment is going on, it will take some time to experience the true 5G features. So that is all about the 5G deployment. So if you have any question or suggestion, do let me know here in the comment section below. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe the channel for more such videos.